So we're Team Big Fishies, and this is the Oxy School. Our need number was a man named Paul and his mother, who suffers from a condition called COPD, which is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. And it's basically when your lungs can't absorb oxygen like a normal person can, and it requires that you constantly be connected to an oxygen tube for the rest of your life. Now, the oxygen tube that Paul and his mother use is one that looks like this, and you can already see that it's kinking up. It has tangles in it, and this is straight out of the box. So this is about 50 feet long. It's going to be just dragged around her house, and he asked us if there was a better way that we could organize these wires. So that's where the oxygen tube comes in. And what this does is it basically serves as a spool that can automatically retract the oxygen hose for you when you want by the press of a single, or the push of a single button, I guess. Now, how it works is that you have a motor here that turns this spool here, and then you have two solenoids that pulls the motor downwards and kind of engages it with the spool so that it allows it to spin. Now, obviously, since the solenoids are pushing up in their neutral position, it's always going to be free spinning until you engage it. So there's no obstruction. It's very easy to use while you're just moving around the house. Now, as soon as you want to engage it, you have this controller that's connected to your tube, and you can simply just well, that went a little bit too far, but that's not going to be a concern in the future versions. Now, how that worked was that it created this normal force. There's this friction kind of bearing in here that engages the spool. And since we're doing it that way, we've intentionally designed it so it had like a mechanical failsafe where if in case this was spooling when it was not supposed to be spooling, it's very easy to just take this with 2 fingers and it won't spool. So that's just our mechanical failsafe. Talking a bit more about the controller itself. The controller has clips on it that can connect to the oxygen tube itself that you're wearing. So this is how it goes on the patient. And the tool can simply clip on to someplace like that. And it'd be just easy access. Yes. But that's on the table. But, yeah. How it works is that there's a potentiometer here and a spring that automatically pulls it back. And you push it up, and it pulls back, push it up, pulls back. Yeah. And what we want to do in the future is, since we have a potentiometer in here, we haven't had the time to calibrate the code properly so that it knows the exact differences in the angles that it's turned. But once we do that, we can adjust the speed, the normal force pulled down by the solenoids, and that would allow the user to kind of control the amount of tube that's being pulled in. So yeah, that's basically it. The oxygen tube comes out here and connects to the oxygen generator, and this will connect to that power. And we will have LEDs here for indicator lights. So that's basically it.
But yeah, the main problem that this solves is now, instead of walking around and having an oxygen tube just sort of curled up on the floor, creating both a trip hazard and a hazard for it to kink unnecessarily, obstructing the flow of oxygen, which is really dangerous. This sort of solves both problems in one, because there's this braided cord around the oxygen tube, which prevents it from kinking and makes it lay on the floor much flatter, preventing the trip hazard. And also, as the user would be walking from room to room, they could automatically retract it as they're walking, so that they're not tripping over the same oxygen tube that they laid out, which was the previous problem.
Right. And we had ideas before where we could just connect the Arduino to internet and just connect it with your phone, with a smartphone app. But Paul obviously said that his mom might not be comfortable using a smartphone 24 hours a day, like she has to use with her phone, with her tubes. So what we did instead was we just took the wires and we ran them all the way into our cord and back into the machine and connect it via a spin here, so that the wires don't tangle up as it's rotating.